Before I get started, I just need to do my little disclaimer. So the disclaimer is that this is information. It is not advice. You must not rely on anything you hear in this video. If you need legal advice, you need to speak to a lawyer. You need to tell them your entire situation, and they need to give you a letter of engagement. So do not rely on what you hear here. It is information, not advice. Okay, so let's get on to the topic. So the name of the act is the Protection of Personal and Property Rights Act. And I mention it because it's quite interesting that it's called the Protection of Blah Blah Rights Act. There are two reasons for this. One is, if you think about it, all laws are about balancing protection and rights. So the more protection you have, the fewer rights, and the more rights you have, the less protection. So you can go away and think about that when you have time. The other reason I mention it is because there are people who believe that this act actually takes away rights, and I'm not sure that they're completely wrong. I will talk about my views maybe in the next video. And I've also had people try to convince me not to tell anyone about this act because they don't like it. In my view, it's important for people to know about this act. It is our current law, and this act can affect all different people, not just people with disabilities. So it's important for you to know about it. It doesn't mean you have to do anything about it, but it is important to know about the provisions in it. Now, this act is actually about decision-making made by one adult for another adult. And it's about them having the legal right to do that. Now, I just want to talk briefly about decision-making because there are different ways that we make decisions, and I just want to contrast the way we do it in real life with the way it's done in the law. So the way we make decisions in real life, I've identified 4 ways. There may be more than 4, but that's all I can think of. So the first one is individual decision-making, and really we do that all the time, and a lot of the time we probably don't even realize it, we just do it automatically. So you might be making 20 or 30 decisions before you leave the house in the morning, and those might be what time to get out of bed, what to eat for breakfast, what to wear, what to put in your handbag, all those sorts of things, and those are individual decisions that you make by yourself. Now, some people don't get to make a decision about certain things. So, for example, a student who has to wear a uniform, they don't get to decide what to wear. They are subject to substitute decision making, which means someone else has made that decision for them about the uniform. And another example would be a driver license. So you might decide you want to get a driver license, but somebody else gets to decide whether you can have that driver's license. So ultimately, that's also a form of substitute decision making. A third type of decision making, which is really important, is called supported decision making. And we use that all the time as well. So supported decision making is where somebody helps you to understand the nature and consequences of your decision. And so we do that all the time. So an example is going to a lawyer. A lawyer will help you understand what you need to understand before you make an important legal decision. And it's the same with doctors and financial advisors, and we use all different types of people to give us advice before we make decisions. Not just professionals either. We ask our friends for advice when we're trying to make a difficult decision or something that's important. So that's supported decision making. And the fourth kind that I can think of is joint decision making. If you are in a family, a relationship, whatever, you live with other people, then probably some of your decisions, big decisions, are going to be made jointly and not individually. So I live in Hamilton usually, and I might decide I want to live by the beach. If I were to come home one day and say to my family, I've decided that we're all moving to Mount Maunganui, I don't think they'd be very happy with me. That's the kind of decision that you would sit down and discuss with your family and make a joint decision. So I just want to mention that because this law, some people say that it only has individual decision-making and substitute decision-making. The government has argued that it contains supported decision-making. And in the next video, I'll talk about why supported decision-making is so important. So I just want to say one more little thing about this act. This act covers a wide range of things that can happen through the act, so I just want to tell you a little bit about what those are, and then we will, in following videos, we'll talk about each one individually. So one thing that can happen under this act is that the judge can give another individual the power to make decisions on your behalf if you lack capacity. So that could be a welfare guardian who makes decisions about personal care and welfare. It could be a property manager or a property administrator who will make decisions about property. The other thing that can happen is that, or under this act, is that you appoint somebody who will make decisions for you if you lose capacity, and that's called an enduring power of attorney. So enduring powers of attorney are under this act as well. The third type of thing that can happen is that the court, the judge themselves, can make a decision on your behalf, and then that becomes a court order. So there's a wide range of orders that can be made, but some examples might be an order for the subject person, that's the person who's lost capacity, for that person to have surgery, for example. Or it could be an order for that person to live in a rehab facility, or an order for that person to not to leave New Zealand. There's a wide range of orders that the court can make, and those are usually limited orders about something specific, whereas welfare guardians and property managers are given wider discretion to make ongoing decisions for a person. So that's the end of this little introduction video. Thank you for listening, and I will talk about the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities and more about supported decision making in the next video. See ya.